Tyrant here, and welcome to the Pogo Radio, the Pokemon Go podcast. I'm joined here today with Drew.
Hey everybody, my name is Drew Eichenser. I'm a level 40 Team Instincts player from Petoskey, Michigan. I did most of my grinding up in Sault Ste. Marie, so shout outs to both of those squads.
We are also here with Mary.
Hi, I'm Mary. I'm level 31 from Chicago suburbs. Mostly with my schedule, I have time to kind of grind and stuff around the suburbs.
All right, guys. So let's do a little bit of introductions, and I'll go first to kind of give you an idea. So, how'd I start with Pokemon? Well, I started with what most people would consider general, like the original Pokemon Red and Blue. Never really got into the Pokemon card game, but the games were hardcore for me. I still play them, not as much as I did a couple years back, but I was really hardcore in the competitive scene of those games. So when Pokemon Go came out, I was really ecstatic until the battle mechanic came out, and I was depressed because all that knowledge felt wasted. But I'm extremely happy Pokemon Go is out. It's been over a year, and still going strong. All right, who would like to go next?
Mary, it's all you. Go for it.
So how I got started?
Yeah.
Well, I remember watching the shows as a kid. And my cousin actually got me into the Game Boy games way in like the 90s it must have been. And so I was super excited when they came out with like the smartphone game because now I can play it again now. Now that I'm an adult and kind of have gotten back into it. My cousin was the one, or no, not my cousin. My one of my good friends from work was like, "Oh, hey, you should try out this app. It's Pokemon. Remember how we used to play it when we were kids? Well, it's back." And so we both kind of started together, but she kind of fell off the kind of wayside, and I'm still here.
I know a lot of people like that as well.
Oh, yeah.
All right, Drew, your turn.
Oh man, okay. So I'm 24 years old, so I've been growing up with Pokemon pretty much my whole life. My first game was Yellow. Played a little bit of the TCG, but really didn't get too much into it. I've played every handheld game, all the GameCube games and the Wii games and all that good stuff. So I've been surrounded by Pokemon for a very long time, and watched the Pokemon Go trailer, and I was like, wow, like, this is fantastic. This is going to change the way we play the game. Pokemon is just going to be a completely different game. Like, this was so unique compared to all the handhelds that I was like, I have to play this game when it comes out. And, I really, really got into it, did a lot of studying when the game came out. And, the way I look at it is that, like, Pokemon Go is so abstract from every other handheld. You actually have to get out there, you have to adventure, you have to communicate. It's different from the video game championships. You're actually out there in the real world playing the game. And that's probably just one of my favorite parts about Pokemon Go is just how it steamed away from the different games, the different handhelds, but it still maintained that feeling of I'm a trainer, I'm on an adventure, and it really does stick with the Pokemon theme line while adding a very nice twist of forcing you to go out and explore new places in the real world.
Yeah, and I totally agree. That's one of the main focuses that got me hooked with Pokemon Go, because I wanted to go out there and just catch as much as I can. As of late, I have not done as much catching as I can or raiding, but I do what I can with my spare time here and there.
Yeah, I'm sitting here nodding my head, agreeing with everything you're saying.
But, well, as we all can tell, this actually, for anyone listening, since this is episode 1, this is the first time we've actually vocally communicated with each other. But we're all very active members of a Facebook group, and we've been chatting away for at least, what feels like almost a month, actually. And I've had so much fun with the Facebook group, and so many other people have really pushed hard with this, mostly with when raids came out with communication. I'm glad raids came out. It kind of rejuvenated the community to go out and play again.
Definitely. That's one thing I want to touch on is the new raid system. I mean, it's not really new. It's been out for a handful of months now, but like, especially with legendary raids, people are just getting new to raids. That is one of the biggest moves, in my opinion, that Niantic has done right. The raid group was an amazing idea. Before the gym rework, I think it was June 28th, 29th, when the gyms were disabled. Before that point, the game had been out for 11 and a half months then. For those 11 and a half months, we saw it was Instinct versus Valor versus Mystic. There was no cooperative gameplay. There was no teams working together unless it was two teams fighting against one team that dominated their town. Niantic introduced raids, and it has brought together the camaraderie that they've been aiming for. Now people are meeting up with other Valors, other Mystics, other Instincts, stuff like that. They actually don't care, what team are you on? Oh, it doesn't matter because we need to fight this raid. That is the original cooperative gameplay that I see Niantic was aiming for in the very first place. And, it did take them a year to get to that point, but I think they've done a fantastic job getting that done.
Yeah, and I think it like revived, not revived it, but like kind of got more people back into playing. Like one time I just stumbled on a raid with Valor on a Zapdos raid. So, I mean, it brought like all these people back to the game, I think.
Oh yeah, people looked out there and they're like, oh my gosh, I can catch any Pokemon and it'll be at least 66% IV at the very worst. I don't have a good Snorlax. I want to go out there and get it. And then they drop the birds on us and it's like, oh my gosh, these are going to be 66% IV or better. I'm going to get a good legendary Pokemon. I've been waiting so long for this, and I can battle with other people. It's just they really nailed the aspect of the raid system. There's a few little tweaks here and there that could be done to appease their player base, but so far what they've done has been great at what their goal has been.
True that, and all. Now moving forward with all these raids and what's happening right now in, I believe, Yokohama with the Japanese event, they are lucky enough to have a couple new raid bosses that they released, and on top of that, they released Mewtwo, which was very shocking. And what were your guys' thought when that news was released?
Mary, you can go first. It's all you.
I'm always going first. I haven't, I don't know what to think because I haven't seen it around here. Have they actually,
So Mewtwo was an exclusive, okay, so think Pokemon Go Fest, how they were the first to catch the legendary. The people in Yokohama, I believe it was the Pokemon, what they dubbed the Pokemon Go Stadium, they let people do the first Mewtwo raid and let the attendees be able to catch one. And there is a huge controversy at the moment in the Pokemon Go community about and about why only they can get it at the moment, and why it's 100% catch rate on it. And it happened a little bit in GoFest, where if you were in the, I believe, 2-mile radius of the original area, every legendary you caught was 100% catch rate. And for the most part, I did not have any issues with it. That event in itself had his issues. But I won't dive into that. That's long been gone. Um,
Yeah.
but this
I,
mu- but let me I'll just finish this thought. Now that Niantic did release some notes that Mewtwo will be releasing, and hopefully these new raid bosses as well. But it's the new raid exclusive raid battle system that's gonna be interesting moving forward. Which
mhm.
we can talk about in a second. But I kind of just want your initial thoughts when Mewtwo was announced. Like, no one really thought Mewtwo was gonna be the next thing. Everyone thought it was gonna be Ho and the dogs, but it was Mewtwo.
Yeah.
And I
That's
personally,
definitely. Yeah.
no, go.
Sorry, that's definitely what I thought. Like I was like all ready for Ho, and like, okay, how am I gonna battle him? And then they go, here's Mewtwo, and I'm like, okay. Like it kind of just surprised me.
Yeah, it was definitely a surprise on Niantic's part. You go to Yokohama, you're thinking, okay, you're going to get Ho-Oh because they've released the other four birds. Ho-Oh was in that original trailer. Yes, Mewtwo was in the original trailer as well. But you saw Ho-Oh there as part of the Legendary Raids trailer that released before Chicago. Very surprising that Ho-Oh wasn't released. But I understand. It's a good move to release Mewtwo as well. But yes, very surprising. And we could talk about Pokemon Go isn't fair, the videos and the responses all day if we really wanted to. But in terms of Yokohama, like, it was a quality event, and they're going to keep doing events just because they're not going to cater to a small town of 15,000 people. That's just not going to happen. You need to be the player base needs to be realistic about these events are going to happen in big places. You can get to these big places. They're not going to schedule some event somewhere tiny. Players need to be a little more realistic towards Niantic and how they're going about their game.
True, because they are hosting the I think it's 3 or 4 day event down in Anaheim, so you can catch KangaCon in the States right now. And I really wish I could take a road trip right now down there, but
That's one thing I wish. I think they released the information on like the 16th or something like that. If they would have given their player base a little bit more of a heads up, I would have really appreciated that, because you could have been planning around that to get down there. But instead, it was more of a kind of a surprise post. So
exactly that's one thing. It was literally just actually it was posts from on Twitter of other players catching them out here, and then I believe it was 12 hours later from the initial tweet that was posted by a person that, oh yeah, we're doing this event down there during the Pokemon Go Championships.
yeah, I wish would have gotten a little more bit of a warning that players could have actually planned. But what do you do?
Yeah, but hey, they're doing
Mhm.
Niantic's doing their thing, and I think they'll just learn as things progress. But seeing how the Tokyo event turned out slightly better, uh, that's a good thing, and foresee the European events, the Safari Zone ones, just pushing it to another level, and then hopefully more events when they come to the States again will shine. Now, let's talk really about this new raid system that they'll be introducing. So it's the exclusive raid battle, and that's how you'll be able to catch Mewtwo. And they did hint on other possible strong or legendary Pokemon. So there might be a possibility that we will still get Ho-Oh, we might get Celebi, we might get Mew. It's not official, but they did hint at that.
Mary, if you want to go first on this, it's all you.
Um.
Okay, how about this? How much do you guys know about the exclusive raid battle?
I mean, we've only been able to read what Niantic has given us in terms of official confirmation, so you're kind of limited to that post that they made, yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's the one time that anyone living in a huge city, I feel, is at a disadvantage. The In my town, we only have within my area, we have about six gyms, 6 7 gyms, and the the limitation to only battle. I'm hoping because you have to battle a gym or battle a gym that has their raid boss, and hope that Mewtwo or any other legendary Pokemon spawn at that location to be able to get invited. I'm hoping that the the timer or some form of notification, like you have to beat this raid boss at this location prior to be able to go and have a chance for this invitation. That's the one thing I'm foreseeing might be a negative going into this.
Are you talking about some sort of like notification that, hey, beat this raid and it might be an exclusive raid, or
Some maybe not a unofficial notification, but maybe kind of like some hint on the actual design of the gym that's might give players an idea that, oh, this gym might be of the one of the possible gyms that you'll have a chance for an exclusive raid battle.
okay, I could see that.
Um,
The way, the exclusive raid sounds really cool. A chance to go from Mewtwo, like who doesn't who doesn't want that,
Mm-hmm.
I was, we can speculate, we can theorize all day, we can see what they want to do. My idea, obviously this isn't confirmed or anything. I wish they would do some sort of like blanket system where you beat the gym and later on, oh, you get a legendary or an exclusive raid pass. And something like that, you could use the raid pass and bring, let's say, 4 players with you. You can, you're like, I have 4 other players that want to do the Mewtwo raid that don't have a pass. Maybe doing something like that where, oh, if you have an exclusive raid pass, you can bring 4 players with you so that it's not, like how many people actually are able to get out, beat those gyms all the time and beat those raids to get the exclusive raid pass. There's a lot of chance that sinks into that, especially with how many gyms surround everybody's area. There's a little too much chance for that. So making it some way that you can bring in other players with you, but not enough to 5 players is not going to beat a Mewtwo. So maybe 2 or 3 players in the area that have an exclusive raid pass can bring 4 people with them. So you're looking at 15 people with 3 people having an exclusive pass.
okay, I see your point.
Yeah, I like that idea. That would be especially helpful in like small towns when I can't get out all the time because I work from 9 to 5. So like I don't have all that much time to be battling all of these gyms to get that chance at an invitation or whatever.
No, yeah, that's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard for, we'll say, the working class who aren't able to go out and do that. I work graveyard, so my time to do anything is after I wake up. So,
Well, you're in the golden age. You get to go from all the day raids. You go from 7 to 7, don't you?
I wish. No, I should be asleep right now, but I'm
Oh,
here.
kind of add on to that, it does impact. And with this is going to force players that really don't want to go beat a Magikarp raid. It's going to go force them to use a raid pass on a Magikarp raid. You're going to see your entire player base go through more raid passes, more than they already are. Players are just dishing out raid passes, buying raid passes, stuff like that. If you really want to push the tempo on that, sure, that's the way to go. But what happens when you only get 1 free raid pass a day and the gym that you choose to use your free raid pass on happens not to be the Mewtwo gym? There's going to be a lot of people that are going to be frustrated that, oh, it's just random selection to which gym I want to fight. It just kind of encourages that strategy of, oh, these players did beat the right raid at the right time. Go with them and go get yourself a Mewtwo.
I did exactly that yesterday. I was like, okay, well, maybe there's going to be a raid or like a Mewtwo here eventually, like sometime. Maybe I need to fight this. It was at flipping level or 70 CP Magikarp. I was like, this stinks.
Yeah, and players don't want to have to use their raid passes and stuff like that. And it's going to be very frustrating if that's the way they decide to do it, that everyone has to have a raid pass to go in. That's a very dangerous game to play, and not one that Niantic might incorporate.
I totally agree. There. But we'll see what happens with that. And well, one thing I'm hoping this will cover is once I believe the bird event will be ending at the end of the month, correct?
Yes, the 31st.
Yeah. So I think this will finally make like legendary Pokemon finally legendary, like hard to get. They'll be really exclusive because they were everywhere. And it's good that they're everywhere, but they don't feel special sometimes. For me, my catch rate for legendary Pokemon is at 10%, and I've done 20 raids, legendary raids, that I was able to actually get into and actually win. But
were you in Chicago for Lugia and Articuno?
Nah, I wasn't. My boss wouldn't give me time off.
Those adult responsibilities, huh?
Boo. Yes.
No, you make a really good point. Legendaries were, in my opinion, a little too accessible, but their stats aren't transcendent. Like I was talking to a buddy yesterday about how Articuno edges out Lapras and Moltres edges out Flareon as the best type attackers. The gap between Zapdos and Jolteon is huge. So, if there is a legendary Pokemon worth investing, it's Zapdos. But, cutting down these rates of these legendary birds, maybe including them as an exclusive rate, something like that, to actually make it feel like, oh my gosh, like you got one shot at a legendary in the handhelds. Like you got one legendary per game. And it just doesn't feel that way with how many other raids have been going on. So hopefully they do slow down the pace of these legendary raids, because their player base is getting exhausted. But they're also spending a lot of money. So who knows what Niantic is going to do at this point?
I find this one list because now that I believe when at the end of the month, once this is speculation, but at the end of the month, once they end the legendary thing, they'll start putting out the exclusive raid system, and I'm hoping they'll start adding the new raid bosses. And I think Mary, you said you didn't hear anything about this. So the ones that are currently these are the ones that were added for the Yokohama event. So they added Piloswine, they added Houndoom, they added Pikachu. I'm trying to remember everyone. They added Dragonite. I think there's one more, and I'm trying to find where my source.
I think it was a Golem, yeah?
No, it wasn't Golem. I wish it was Golem. I need Golems. I need them. I need Dragonites, actually. I only have one.
Me too.
I only have one, and it's horrible.
I have one. It's
So, having a Dragonite raid will be worthwhile, and I don't know, having a bigger pool of raid bosses would be nice.
Yeah, I saw. There's a lot of things a lot of easy switches that I saw. If they're gonna change up bosses, make Tyranitar Dragonite, Snorlax Blissey, replace the Gen 1 starters with the Gen 2 starters. Like, you could fill in a lot of gaps pretty easily to please your player base.
Actually, yeah, that wouldn't be bad if they do a monthly rotation.
Something like that, or ride on with Golem, because Golem is a very essential Pokemon right now for these legendary raids. Switching right on for Golem, just little changes like that. To just, everybody has a good Snorlax at this point. I mean, not everybody, obviously, but like a lot of players do have a good Snorlax at this point. You know, a lot of players do have a good Tyranitar, Machamp, stuff like that. So switching it up, giving your player something else to actually strive for, I think would be a very healthy decision.
Well,
yeah, a Pikachu was a raid at Chicago. I was down there. I fought a couple.
Was it really?
Yeah, there were Pikachu raids in Chicago that I fought, and that was pretty awesome. But you know, I really don't feel like Pikachu, unless they're sticking around with the shiny thing. If they just want to switch out Magikarp for Pikachu and do the whole shiny thing like that, that's one movement that Niantic could make as well.
Well, from what I've been seeing is that Pikachu will be the second shinies around, so we're slowly getting shinies being put into the game. So
Yeah.
we'll have 2, or technically 5 in total shinies.
What's that? Yeah, Magikarp, Gyarados, Pichu, Pikachu, Raichu.
So they'll all be introduced once I believe the next update will be pushing that out for everyone.
Yeah.
But, so actually that's gonna get a little bit more exciting. I'm glad that they're slowly doing shinies out, and they didn't do like a whole wave, because then I could see a whole community of just shiny hunters going out there.
Right, definitely. And you know, I'm no expert. I have never claimed to be an expert at this game, but I feel like a lot of our player base doesn't know every shiny. So, I mean, unless you went by the, are you sure you want to transfer a shiny notification? I don't think a lot of players would know some of the unique shiny Pokemon. I mean, like a shiny Oddish. Like, you know, who would know what a shiny? I mean, there are some pretty cool shinies out there. One of my favorites is the shiny Ponyta. That's a pretty cool looking Pokemon.
Oh, the one
But
with
I feel like
Blue Flames, right?
Yeah, it's a Blue Flame. Yeah, it's awesome. I feel like a lot of players wouldn't know every shiny. And so, I mean, it'd be a nice surprise. But, you know, introducing the big ones, Gold Magikarp. Everybody knows Gold Magikarp isn't like a regular looking Pokemon. You know, I think Pikachu, everyone would know that's not really what a Pikachu looks like. Like, I mean, its tone is a little less, like, its tone has very little different from the original shiny.
It's just slightly darker. That's a lot of people have been like, do I have a shiny? Like, yes, you do.
Yeah, like it's a very it doesn't derive from the original too much, but you know, I'm glad they had that notification there. That's where it's like, are you sure you want to transfer shiny? Like they would know, oh my gosh, I caught a shiny Pikachu. But yeah, definitely not throwing out every shiny was a great idea. Rolling them out slowly has been pretty good so far, and it keeps your player base involved. You know, if you just dropped every shiny right away, you would take away the incentive to keep playing once you caught shinies more frequently. If they roll out shinies slowly, you keep your player base engaged, keeps your monetary value up, and keeps this game running for the next couple of months.
What is the point of a shiny beyond the different look?
They're just
completely aesthetic.
Yeah, they just look pretty.
That's what I thought.
Even in the games, they just look pretty. That's their only thing. Everyone always thought in the original games that they were slightly stronger. No, they just look pretty.
Sometimes base stats are all the same. Everything's the same. It's just aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes they are. Some shinies don't look that great.
That's true.
So I'll give them that. But I'm gonna go for that shiny Nidoking. Like, it's pure blue.
That is pretty cool.
It doesn't make sense, but I want it. But yeah, I'm glad I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to Gen 3 coming up. I'm hoping that comes out mid to late fall, I'm hoping. That's gonna change up the game again, totally.
I remember a couple months ago, I think it was Mystic 7 came out with a video talking about how Niantic needs to drop Gen 3 in the summer. And I wasn't having it. You know, like Niantic can take their time. You know, a lot of their player base remember Gen 1, Gen 2. You know, they remember going to places to catching the legendary birds and stuff like that. Niantic has a good chunk of time before they even need to think about releasing Gen 3. People are still obsessing over the Gen 1 legendaries, maybe even releasing Gen 2 legendaries. Niantic has a good chunk of time before they really need to start thinking about, okay, let's release these Gen 3s for them,
Yeah, I mean, how long was it before they released Gen 2?
Good chunk of months. Gen 2 was in February.
Yeah.
You're looking at, I'm so bad at math. What's that, 7 months? 7 months?
At least a little over half a year. Let's go with a little over half a year.
Yeah. So, Niantic really, they released what? Gen 2 in February. So, they have a little bit of time. Maybe get these exclusive raids done and then whip out Gen 3, Either way, the player base definitely wasn't pushing. They're definitely not pushing for Gen 3 as much as they were griping about Gen 2,
Yeah.
You don't see that pushback anymore from, hey, give us Gen 2. Like, that was crazy. Everyone was out over getting Gen 2, but, Gen 3 players a little more calm with it. And with that kind of calamity, buys Niantic a little bit more time.
Well, there's one thing I will state. Like, this has been strongly noted within the Pokemon community overall that Gen 3 wasn't really the strongest out of the most of the gens, because once the real comeback as far as the original games were concerned was Gen 4 when they released evolutions to Gen 1 and Gen 2 Pokemon. Gen 3 was kind of that one off shot that people bought because it was Pokemon, but the Pokemon in that generation just, I felt, didn't get enough love from some members of the community. Like,
And 3, 4.
3.
3. Okay.
That's why I feel that people aren't really striving right now. We're pretty content with having raids, having legendary Pokemon, and some more to come. That's more than enough content for a while to hold us, because it's still having us go out there, and it's still having us go and find people to play and raid with.
Oh yeah.
And it's good to give time for Gen 3, because I feel there'll be a I don't know how to put it. I'm hoping some of the newer generation of people who play Pokemon will give some love to Gen 3 Pokemon, because there were some really fun Pokemon in Gen 3.
And for anybody who's listening live right now, go ahead and stick with me while I'll explain this.
Well, we're not live streaming it; it's just pure recording, dude.
That's
no,
sad.
it's like we'll think.
Sound like a fool. No, just for the players listening, just stick with me real quick. If you played Gen 1, I'm talking red, blue, yellow, even fire red and leaf green, I guess. You can include those. For anybody who played the Gen 1 games and the Gen 2 games, a lot of people know that Gen 2 was where Pokemon was originally supposed to end. Gen 2 was oh, you're a new hero, you can go take on the old hero in red and stuff like that, and that's kind of where the game ended. And Gen 2 with Gold and Silver and Crystal, they were, for lack of a better term, they were an extension of Gen 1. You got those evolutions that went from Gen 1 to Gen 2, like Steelix and Caesar, and so you saw those evolutions cross over. I really, obviously you can differentiate what Pokemon are Gen 1 and Gen 2, but for me it feels like that entire generation, both of them, are really one generation for me. It was Gen 1 and Gen 2 is the complete package for me when it comes to early Pokemon. And so with this whole with this whole package of Gen 1, Gen 2, Gen 3 came out and there wasn't really any previous mention of Gen 1 and Gen 2. There wasn't too much that was had players wow, I can move my Pokemon from, especially since the Game Boy Advance came out and Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald came out only for the Game Boy Advance. They just completely kind of not gutted, but they definitely stepped away from red, blue, yellow, gold, silver, crystal, kind of put those in the past and started pushing out ruby, sapphire, emerald, along with fire red and leaf green. If you guys have seen that timeline, you know that those two things are hypothetically within the same timeline of each other. With that being said, there is a lot, not disdain, but a lot of people, you either loved Gen 3 or it was too meh for you, and you went ahead and played Diamond, Pearl, Platinum when you got your DS, So Gen 3 unfortunately isn't as popular, but it's still going to, like I said, Niantic still has a lot of time before they do what they want to do, and they're not seeing as much as a pushback as they saw with the player base wanting the next generation.
Totally agree. I just was wondering if anyone was going to pitch in anything. Because I don't know. I totally agree with that. I'm just kind of scrolling through all the Gen 3 Pokemon right now.
Yeah, people really, Pokemon was still popular at that point. Obviously, it's still popular now, but, Gen 3 Gen 3 was the first games that stepped away from the continuing storyline of red, blue, yellow, gold, silver, crystal. So that's why I feel like it didn't receive its due diligence,
Yeah, but we'll be getting some interesting. At least there'll be at least a few Pokemon I know for sure will be making their grand entrance, like.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Metagross, Salamence, Blaziken. Oh god, I bet you we'll be seeing a lot of Blazikens everywhere.
Oh yeah, that was a fan favorite, definitely. Flygon, Slacking supposed to be like 5,000, but it's gonna get. It's gonna get nerfed. They can't have some original Pokemon topping up like Mewtwo and stuff like that.
No,
so.
but the big dog's gonna come out, Rayquaza.
Oh yeah.
So.
Oh yeah, I'm really pumped for Metagross.
But
a lot of people.
Here's the one thing that is interesting is we'll be in Gen 3. We'll be getting the most legendaries out of everything, since we'll be getting.
Oh yeah.
We'll be getting 3 Reggies. We'll be getting Latios and Latias. We'll be getting Kyogre, Groudon, Jirachi, Rayquaza, and Deoxys.
Yeah, they made a big leap after Gen 2 for the legendaries.
So I think Gen 3 will be a good amount of time where hopefully, as far as Pokemon Go is concerned, will really bring some love to Gen 3. And yeah, that's I'm actually looking forward a little bit more now talking about it like this.
Definitely. And one thing I kind of want to highlight is how publicly admitted that they're behind schedule. They've said in many interviews that we are not where we want to be. We pushed this game quickly. We pushed it out in the summer, and we didn't get to get done as much as we wanted. And so watching Niantic play catch up, it's going to be very exciting to see where the company is once they get to a place where they are finally on the same page and finally can create new content.
I'm not sure. I'm just enjoying listening to what you have to say.
That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to provide everyone with, well, some form of entertainment and knowledge. But so what are your thoughts on the future of Pokemon Go with Gen 3 coming up? Hopefully, let's hope for a late fall, which would be nice.
Yeah, a late fall wouldn't be. Oh, I'm sorry, Mary. Sorry.
Drew, you're just trying to take the spotlight, man.
I'm just having trouble hearing anybody but Drew.
Oh, my apologies then.
Mary, what do you look forward to for the upcoming events of raids or Gen 3 introduction? What are your thoughts?
I'm kind of nervous about the raids with Mewtwo. I just kind of am stuck on that right now.
No, go. Speak your mind.
Because I feel like I'm going to have a hard time with that since I don't have the opportunity to get out as much as I would like to. And really the only places I feel like I'm going to be able to see, like, and have a lot of success with raids is in the city, which is kind of hard for the people in the suburbs that work to get there.
No, I see your point there. It's getting to a point where you're gonna see a very I don't want to say demanding, but more hardcore player base when it comes to Pokemon Go. And right now, what we used to have before were some of the casuals who played here and there, and some of the kind of like the mid tiers, kind of where I'm at, who at least played once a day, caught a few Pokemon, did my daily swipes, and then probably did a raid maybe one day or another, but didn't the other. But then you'll start getting those people who are really hard in grinding away. Those who are already in the level 40s, who are putting in those hours. And how they do it, I don't know. Props to them.
Yeah, how do you do it, Drew?
It takes a certain kind of crazy and a lot of Pidgey candies, I'll tell you that.
But yeah, it's gonna be hard for the working man / woman to go out there. And on top of that, your location does either help or suffer your chances. But this, as far as I can tell, I believe this is the first time I think smaller towns will have a better chance of getting a very exclusive raid, because they have a limited amount of gyms around them, so they have a higher chance to hopefully a slightly higher chance to get said exclusive raid in their area compared to
Definitely. Niantic has a problem on their hands when it comes to their urban versus rural player base. You know, do you give that rural player, do you give them exclusive raids based upon like a gym radius? Oh, there's only one gym in this location. We should pump up the raid opportunity for that. But then you also run into, oh, that gym probably won't get noticed. We should be putting gyms in places, or putting these exclusive raids in places where they will get noticed. And once again, unfortunately, that is going to be in your bigger cities. So, I mean, Niantic really has a problem about what they're going to do about how they're going to go ahead and push this. You know, you want to make the game fair. You want to make players be able to get any Pokemon. I mean, obviously not regional exclusive, but be able to get Pokemon that they want regardless of their place. But how they're going to handle that situation, I'm very excited and nervous, to be honest with you, nervous about how they're going to continue to try and balance out urban versus their rurals. You got anything there, Mary?
Yeah, this is kind of your territory.
Yeah, I'm the rural lady.
Well, I kind of live in the suburbs, kind of. Like, I think I posted up that technically my downtown is like, I live like kind of in a small town. So my suburbs is like probably a 10-minute walk to what's considered downtown around here. So
I guess the better way to go about that is, instead of comparing, instead of comparing like your city stats and the statistics of your area, correlate it more with the Pokemon Go side of it. Like a lot of people are like, oh, well, I come from a town of, but they also have like 7 gyms and a handful of stops. You know, that Niantic hasn't always been completely fair when it comes to their distribution, even for small places. You know, I'm in a very, very, very small area in Petoskey, Michigan, but we have, honestly, we have about 15, 17 gyms within a 5-10 mile radius. So the problem that I keep hearing about, oh, we don't have places, like, you can't base it off of population, you can't base it off of that. You know, you got to really look at the Pokemon Go side of it. What's in our area Pokemon Go wise, and then you can start dissecting what needs to be worked on Niantic side.
True.
I also think when it comes to raids, it comes into like there comes a problem when you like no one else is gonna come and do this tier 3 or 4 raid with you, and okay, how am I supposed to do this by myself? So again, my main frustration is that there's not a super lot of other players around me. I almost soloed an Arcanine raid the other day,
Nice.
except I was like 10 seconds away. I was like, duh.
Oh, the struggle.
I
the
need like
struggle.
one other person.
No, I totally feel your struggle on that. Yeah, that's gonna be an issue that I think Niantic. I don't think that's kind of their main priority at the moment.
Yeah.
Is their way to get people together, because people have gotten together in some way or another, and I think they've noticed that, so they're trying to focus on other things.
Mary, are you in the heart of Chicago?
The what?
Are you in the heart of Chicago, or kind of where are you at down there?
Well,
Yeah, I'm from LaGrange area.
that works.
LaGrange is.
Actually, I actually have family out there.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's one thing, you see those locations and it's like, man, we need, like, people won't even come, and I live here. Like, that even heightens what I was talking about earlier about having a blanket for these exclusive raids and stuff like that. It's going to be very interesting to see how they approach that.
So, well, hopefully we'll see a little bit more progression with a lot of the things coming forward, and we'll make do with what we have at the moment. Let's end the podcast here. We've been going for close to almost an hour. So this was episode 1 of the Pogo Radio. Or wait, that sounds wrong. Oh, Pogo Radio, not the Pogo Radio. Sorry, it just sounds really weird in my head. And everyone else who's listening to this, like, what's happening now? But I want to thank our roundtable here. Thank you, Drew and Mary, for joining me.
Thanks for having us.
Yep.
So, we're gonna wrap this up, and we're gonna talk off camera, not off camera, but off the record. I hope you guys enjoyed listening to our crazy rants, and I hope you guys listen to more to come. Goodbye.
Bye.
See ya.